Mattatyahu, or Matthew, chapter 12, verses 1 through 21. At that time, Yeshua went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his taught ones were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your taught ones are doing what's not right to do on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went to the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or did you not read in the Torah that on the Sabbath the priests in the set apart place profane the Sabbath and are blameless? But I say to you that in this place there is one greater than the set apart place. And if you had known what this means, I desire compassion and not offering, you would not have condemned the blameless. For the Son of Adam is master of the Sabbath." And having left there, he went into their congregation. And see, there was a man having a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, "Is it right to heal on the Sabbath?" so as to accuse him. And he said to them, "What man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, shall not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more worth is a man than a sheep? So it is right to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and it was restored as healthy as the other. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him so as to destroy him. But Yeshua, knowing it, withdrew from there. And large crowds followed him, and he healed them all, and warned them not to make him known, in order that what was spoken by Yeshayahu the prophet might be filled, saying, "See, my servant, whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom my being did delight. I shall put my spirit upon him, and he shall declare right ruling to the nations. He shall not strive nor cry out, nor shall anyone hear his voice in the streets. A crushed reed he shall not break, and smoking flax he shall not quench, till he brings forth right ruling to overcome. And the nations shall trust in his name." Mark chapter 3. And he went into the congregation again, and a man who had a withered hand was there, and they were watching him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so as to accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Get up to the middle." And he said to them, "Is it right to do good on the Sabbath, or to do evil? To save life, or to kill?" But they remained silent. And having looked around on them with displeasure, being grieved at the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored, as healthy as the other. And the Pharisees went out and immediately plotted with the Herodians against him on how to destroy him. But Yeshua withdrew with his taught ones to the sea. And a great crowd from Galilee followed him, and from Yehuda, even from Jerusalem, and from Edom, and beyond the Jordan, and those around Sor and Sidon. A large crowd came to him when they heard how much he was doing. And he spoke to his taught ones that a small boat should be kept ready for him because of the crowd, lest they should press upon him. For he healed many, so that as many as had afflictions fell upon him to touch him. And the unclean spirits, whenever they saw him, fell down before him and cried out, saying, "You're the Son of Elohim." But he warned them many times they should not make him known. And he went up on the mountain and called to him whom he wished, and they came to him. And he appointed 12 to be with him and to be sent out to proclaim and to possess authority to heal sicknesses and to cast out demons. And he appointed the 12 Shimon, to whom he added the name Kepha, and Yaakov, the son of Zabdi, and Johanan, the brother of Yaakov, to whom he added the name Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder, and Andri, and Philip, and Bartholomew, and Mattatyahu, and Tomah, and Yaakov, son of Alphi, and Taddai, and Shimon on the Canaanite, and Yehuda from Kerioth, who did also deliver him up. And they went into a house. And again the crowd came together so that they were unable even to eat bread. When his relatives heard about this, they went out to seize him, for they said, "He is out of his mind." And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem said, "He has Beelzebul, and he casts out demon by the ruler of demons." And calling them near, he said to them in parables, "How is Satan able to cast out Satan? And if a reign's divided against itself, that reign's unable to stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house is unable to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he's unable to stand, but has an end. No one's able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man. Then he shall plunder the house. Truly I say to you, all the sins shall be forgiven the sons of men, and whatever blasphemies they speak, but he who blasphemes against the set-apart Spirit has no forgiveness forever, but is subject to everlasting judgment, because they said he has an unclean spirit. And his brothers and his mothers came, and standing outside, they sent to him, calling him. And a crowd was sitting around him. And they said to him, "See, your mother and your brothers are outside seeking you." But he answered them, saying, "Who is my mother and my brothers?" Looking about on those sitting around him, he said, "See, my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the desire of Elohim is my brother and my sister and my mother." And Luke chapter 6. And it came to be on a Sabbath that he went through the grain fields, and his taught ones were plucking the heads of grain and were eating, rubbing them with the hands. And some of the Pharisees said to them, "Why are you doing what's not right to do on the Sabbath?" And Yeshua answering them said, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim, took and ate the showbread, and also gave some to those with him, which is not right for any but the priests to eat." And he said to him, "The son of Adam is master of the Sabbath." And it also came to be on another Sabbath that he entered the congregation and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. The scribes and Pharisees were watching him closely, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, for them to find an accusation against him. And he knew their thoughts, and said to the man who had the withered hand, "Rise up and stand in the midst." And he rose up and stood. And Yeshua said to them, "I ask you, is it right to do good on the Sabbath or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" And looking around at them all, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored, sound as the other. But they were filled with folly and were speaking with one another what they should do to Yeshua. And in those days it came to be that he went out to a mountain to pray, and was spending the night in prayer to Elohim. And when it became day, he called near his taught ones, and chose from them 12, whom he also named emissaries: Shimon, on whom he also named Kepha, and his brother Andri, Yaakov and Johanan, Philip and Bartholomew, Mattathiyahu and Tomah, Yaakov the son of Alphi and Shimon, the one called the Ardent One, Yehuda the son of Yaakov, and Yehuda from Kerioth, who also became the betrayer. And coming down with them, he stood on a level place with a crowd of his taught ones and a great number of people from all Yehuda and Jerusalem, and from the coast country of Tzor and Sidon, who came to hear him and to be healed of their diseases, and those who were troubled with unclean spirits, and they were healed. And all the crowd were seeking to touch him, for power went out from him and healing them all. And he, lifting up his eyes towards his taught ones, said, Blessed are the poor, because yours is the reign of Elohim. Blessed are you who hunger now, because you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, because you shall laugh. Blessed are you when men shall hate you, and when they shall cut you off, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as wicked for the sake of the Son of Adam. Rejoice in that day, and leap for joy, for look, your reward is great in the heaven, for that is how their fathers treated the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, because you're receiving your comfort. Woe to you who have been filled, because you shall hunger. Woe to you who are laughing now, because you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all men speak well of you, for thus their fathers did to the false prophets. But I say to you who are hearing, love your enemies. Do good to those hating you. Bless those cursing you, and pray for those insulting you. And to him who hits you on the one cheek, offer the other also. And from him who takes away your outer garment, do not withhold the inner garment either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away what is yours, don't ask it back. And as you wish men should do to you, you also do to them in the same way. And if you love those loving you, what favor have you? For sinners, they love those loving them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what favor have you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive back, what favor have you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much back. Rather, love your enemies, and do good, and lend, expecting none in return. And your reward shall be great, and you shall be sons of the Most High, because he is kind to the thankless and wicked ones. Therefore be compassionate, as your Father also is compassionate. And do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned at all. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given to you, a good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over shall be put into your lap. For with the same measure with which you measure, it shall be measured back to you. And he spoke a parable to them. Is a blind able to lead a blind? Shall they not both fall into a pit? A taught one's not above his teacher, but everyone perfected shall be like his teacher. And why do you see a splinter in your brother's eye, but are not aware of the plank in your own eye? Or how are you able to say to your brother, Brother, let me take out that splinter that's in your eye, not seeing the plank in your own eye? Hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you shall see clearly and take out the splinter that's in your brother's eye. For a good tree does not yield rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree yield good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For they do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. The good man brings forth what's good out of the good treasure of his heart. And the wicked man brings forth what is wicked out of the wicked treasure of his heart. For out of the overflow of the heart his mouth speaks. But why do you call me Master, Master, and do not do what I say? Everyone who is coming to me and is hearing my words and is doing them, I shall show you whom he's like. He's like a man building a house who dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when a flood came, the stream burst against the house, but was unable to shake it, for it was founded on the rock. But the one hearing and not doing, he's like a man who built a house on the earth without a foundation, against which the stream burst, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great.